Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today, the market is getting a little pump. I wanted to show you this fractal here. It looks a bit interesting, like what we see right now. So, you know, I think just looking at it, on a different chart, different thing, side by side, we obviously, see this move to the upside, right? And then we sort of get this sort of bull flag down, right? Get this move to the upside, we flag down. Then what's interesting is we have this 1, 2, right? So, and then a 1, 2. So maybe what we see here is a 1, 2 and a 1, 2, right? It looks a little different, but it still, applies. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we can see this wave, right, coming up and taking out the top. What this is a flat, right? It's going up correctively because it starts off as a 1 2 1 2. Looks like it's going to be a 3 4, and then we get 5, but instead of 4 we just reverse. So just an idea, not saying that's what's going to happen, but it's interesting. It's an interesting idea nonetheless. Because if that were to occur, then we can see a move up here, right? Continue pumping, break the top. And if we get a sharp reversal down, then it's probably going to come back down. And how that translates onto the chart we see now would essentially be, same thing, right? We come down, we have this 1 2 1 2, and then we sort of curl up here, take out the top, take out this top, and then we come back down. So is that the case? Well, I've talked about that being one of the ideas last week. And basically, it wasn't my favorite just because it's just going to take more time. So my thinking is we have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, go. Or we have an A, B, C, we get it over with, then we go. The third option I presented was, well, what if this isn't finished yet? The B wave. So basically you have 1, 2, 3, right? So now we're in that third wave. So we have A, 1, 2, 3, B, and then we get C, right? And then we meet up with the bull market support band, and then we go to the moon, right? So that's sort of, and that's what I'm saying, right? You don't have to know exactly which one it's going to be because you can, you know, position yourself accordingly before that time, that before the needed time arises, right? So, that's why I had the three ideas, and one of them, the one I liked the best, isn't really playing out, but that's okay. It doesn't need to, right? Because we have a rise crash. If this was the retracement, then we come down into reaccumulation, then we can go. But instead, this pullback is leading to a pump, right? This pump, if it continues or even breaks the top a little bit, everybody's going to go all-time high. We did it. We did it. It's an all-time high. We're going to the moon. But they fail to realize that this all-time high is accompanied by what? A three-wave move. It's not an impulsive move like this, right? It's a choppy wave that broke the top, right? So, if we break out all-time high, let's go. Now, the way it can turn into a bullish momentum continuing to pump to the upside, right, is if, you know, um, we get going here and we pull back, three-way pullback, we hold support above the back test zone, and we get another reaction out of here. If we get this reaction, then I'm thinking, okay, that's not the case anymore. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a diagonal, right? We have some kind of diagonal because you can see the waves are overlapping with each other. So you have an impulse wave, right? And then you have sort of a diagonal which, does this overlapping stuff, right? And then you have, a three-wave move to the upside, a correction. So this is the best, second best, and the worst, right? So far we have the worst, right? But it can turn into something a lot nicer. So a way to negate this problem is if we start to come down now, because we would have an A. Sorry, 1 second here. Okay, so we have an A, B, C, D, and if we can come down and get E, right, then we would finish up this triangle here. Then we can go. So that's the weird part about analysis, right? If we pump to the upside, all the bulls get happy. But I'm a bull and I would not be happy. I would be upset. And it's thinking like, well, why would you be upset? We're breaking out. It's a new all-time high. Yeah, let's go. And I'm like, no, this is not good, my friends. This is not good. Why? Because, like I said, it could be a 1-2, right? A 1-2-1-2, and yeah, we can fly and let's go. If that's the case, and we just take off and and we get substantially away from this, then it's going to look like a proper breakout. But if we just keep pumping up here and we get stalled out, that's going to look like a total three-wave move. 1, 2, 3. And the way it's shaped, right, looks very corrective. And then you can also tell because look at if for example, if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then let's go. But the problem is if you look at the wave closely, right, what do you see? Look at the first wave. It's not 5, it's 3. You have 1, 2, 3. So that really can't technically be a first wave, right? You have a nice, I mean, you can say that this is a 4-5 potentially, right? And then you get a three-wave pullback. Make it clear for everybody here. So we have something like that. So now check this out. This is the last time we broke above the all-time high. Remember, this was about 19-20K, right? We came up to the all-time high. We came down, and we went up in 3, right? And we broke the top. We broke the top. It looks a little different, right? But it's same thing. We came up, we broke the top, and we came back down. We bull flagged down. So it was like that, right? Which then led to the upside. So maybe we're right here. Maybe that's where we are. I hope not. I hope that obviously it's a little conflicting because one part of you wants to go up, the other part of you wants it to wait until you get to test the bull market support band. But either way, it is what it's going to be. So if this would be an A, B, C, so a flat here, and then we continue higher. Now another example. This was the all-time high, right, of Bitcoin. We fell down, and then you can see we had this 1, 2, 3-wave move. Some people like to say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's technically true, but the first wave was only 3, so I don't really like that. Or you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but again, this would be only 3. So what I'm saying here is this was the fractal here, right? It could be this is basically the ultimate bearish scenario if it were to play out that way, which I really don't think. And I'm going to explain why I really, really don't believe so. And you're not going to want to miss that. So, we saw our fractal here, 1, 2, we came up, right? And then we came down. So I think it could do that, but I don't think it's going to go down like how this one went down. I mean, that's insane. I think if it were to break down, we would go to the bull market support band, then continue higher. So, but I'm not even going to entertain that right now because we're nowhere near that. But I like to keep us a little bit ahead of the curve for when the time comes. So let me get, okay, so look at this. This was the last time too, and I've showed this before. We came up to the all-time high. We had an A. We went up 1, 2, 3, right? And B. We broke the top. Look at this. This is isn't this crazy? This is the last two times this exact thing happened. So that's why I'm like, is third time, are the market makers doing it a third time, or do they suspect that everybody suspects it, so they're going to do something else, right? Because if you keep doing the same if the market makers do the same pattern every bull cycle, eventually people catch on, and then that said pattern doesn't work anymore. Then they change their algorithms, right? So we have a top, right? We come down, we break out here, we break the top, right? And then we bull flag down, right? So that's exactly what I've, if we do keep pumping up, that's definitely a top contender of what we can see. And that would actually be bullish because you can see, right? We came down and look what we did. We tested the bull market support band. And once that happened, Bitcoin's like, you know, it it turned into Superman, and it basically came down, and now it's rampaging. So just look at this structure here. It's the same like this, right? So now I'm going to fast forward to today, and let's see what we got. Something, it's a little different, right? But if I zoom in, because that was a bigger time frame, let me take that off. You can kind of see potentially maybe that's what we have here. So we have the top here. Now granted, the difference is this one did break the top to begin with, right? It didn't stop. This was the all-time high, 69K, but it went above that. Then it came down for the flat. So the market makers switched it up on us, right? Because initially we thought this was the flat, but it wasn't, right? It was just beginning the A wave. Now we have 1, 2. It looks like potentially we get 3. If we get 3, then we're going to bull flag down. The bull market support band will meet up with us. Then we continue marching to the upside. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that, right? So a lot of people I see on various different outlets saying, well, here's our resistance and here's our support. And if we break the resistance, we can go here. And if we break the support, we can go here. But it doesn't really tell you really much, right? Oh, we're ranging. We don't know what it's doing. Well, what kind of range is it doing? What kind of structure is it producing? What kind of pattern is it producing? How many waves are in the pattern? What is that correction correcting, right? We can see this correction is correcting a 5-wave move. If that's the case, we want to see a 3-wave correction. Do we have that, right? A lot of people don't like to talk about the nitty-gritty part of it because there's a lot of different, ultimatums or possibilities, right? But for me, I like to cover a lot of the track here, So that would be sort of the top contender for me. Now, if we get rejected here, then the other possibility, right? Because we all know we're ranging, we all know where the resistance and the support is, but what is it doing? This could be, check this out. If it's not that, then it could be this, where we have an A, B, C, maybe D is almost finished. It should be finished. We don't want to go too much higher than B. And then we come down in E, and then we can go to the moon. So if you're a bull, if you're a time bull, right? Like there's different types of bulls. There's bulls that want the price to go now, And there's bulls that want the price to, macro go, but do it in a way where it's sustainable, right? So those are the two ideas I have for you today. So we have this triangle here. I'm sure you've seen this before. Now, you could say, well, the triangle broke out because if I draw this, right, a lot of people are saying, oh, look at this, right? Retail is, they're getting their trend lines out and they go, look at that. We broke above the trend line, and it is very important. Trend lines are very important, but you have to understand a lot of times they do that for traps, right? A lot of times it's a trap. So, you know, it could still come back into E. Now, here's the cool part. I like how they broke it out of D because if that's the case, everybody's bullish. They expect it to go now. But if we come back in, they're going to go, oh no, it was a fake out. We're going down. But all it was doing is finishing up wave E. And then it goes. So it screws up a lot of people in here. And that's what the market makers love to do. They love to screw up people's trades. They love to take your money, and that's their job. Their job is to steal from you. But, subscribe to my channel, and that potentially won't happen as much as it's probably doing now. I mean, if you trade, chances are you've lost plenty of times, and maybe you win plenty of times, but you can only get better. And I call it, sharpening your blade, right? You got to sharpen your sword. When you go, think of this as a rebellion, right, against the Roman Empire, and you're leading a horde of, rebels, right? And they don't have as many resources as the Romans do, yet they have more purpose. And our purpose, right? Because when you're bowling with millions of dollars, you can do certain things, have access to certain tools, right? But if you're a retail trader working at a job and you're using your money from your paycheck to trade with, every dollar you hold means so much more to you than someone if, they were extremely wealthy and they can afford to lose a couple dollars. But we can't, right? So we have to make sure we mitigate our risk as much as possible. That's why being conservative about things and not overly bullish can really help balance, the psychology out. But anyways, those are the two ideas, either a triangle. So if we come down, that's bullish. If we go up, that's bearish. Isn't that reverse? Like, nobody could even think about that, right? Most people who, they go on Coinbase and they look at the price, or they go on whatever app they use and they look at the price, right? If they see the price is up, they get excited. If they see the price is down, they get upset. But actually, if the price does go down, that's actually better because it would complete the triangle. If the price goes up, then we're probably going to come down for a flat. So A, B, and all the way back down. Then it would just be a big 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? That big correction. And you say, well, what is that 1, 2, 3 correcting? That 1, 2, 3 is correcting this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So, we have 5 waves up. Now we need 1, 2, 3. How does the 3 shape? Most of us see the shape like that, but it can be in a triangle. It can be in a flat, different things. So those are the two ideas. There is one more idea I'm going to put on right here. Now, some people can say, well, maybe it's an ascending triangle, because we did come up to equal resistance here. I don't really like it a lot because, we broke above, but, that's a possibility as well. And if that's the case, then the measured move of this triangle would approximately be, I would say 84K. So that would be very interesting, right? So, and then I guess another idea could be the 3-wave is already done, right? So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, right? So W, X, Y. So it's already done, right? And then we come down. Then we come down, right? Maybe we break the low, we come down, and then we go. But it's looking a little bullish here. Let's zoom in and see if we can find anything of note. So now when I zoom into the 15-minute chart, this wave looks actually nice. It looks bullish. It looks interesting. We got a nice 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting 4, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or what I would like better is this is even better, 1, 2, and now we have another 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of the third wave. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like that. So 1, 2, 1, 2. All of this is 3. Maybe we get one more high, or or if we don't get another high, then we're correcting now, and then we get that fifth wave, right? So let me zoom out a little bit, and we can visualize this here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Maybe 3 has one more wave, maybe not. But either way, it doesn't matter, right? We get 4, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we get that fifth wave. And that would look totally like a complete finished 3-wave move, right? So, yeah, boom, 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 go. But I hope, but if this turns back and it holds above here and we get a big reaction, then I change my mind. That's not the case, right? So then you can say, well, if that happened, then what would have been the count? It would have been a B, C. It would have been a running flat, right? So, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But here's the important thing. Bitcoin is bullish. Look at this. Altcoins are bullish. Macro. Think macro. Think about this year. Think about this right here.
CNBC. Ripple CEO predicts crypto market will double in size to $5 trillion by the end of 2024. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said he expects the entire value of the crypto market to double this year, citing the arrival of the first U.S. spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds and upcoming so-called Bitcoin.
Guys, when Brad Garlinghouse makes a prediction like that, I pay attention big time. It's not just some random person making a prediction, right? All of his predictions have come true. So this guy, when he speaks, he knows a lot of insider information. And I'm not just talking about XRP, right? I'm talking it from the front of the whole market. Now, this was shared around, and so to me, that basically kind of confirmed, hey, we're continuing on, even though I've already believed we will continue on. This just gives more validation. So maybe he knows something we don't know. I mean, he's giving these talking points like the Bitcoin halving, and right, but he's not one to boast XRP, right? He doesn't go out there and say, "Oh yeah, XRP is going to perform so good," and this and that. It's all about optics, right? So as a leader, right, in this space, how do you sort of tell without really telling? You talk about Bitcoin, you talk about the halving, you talk about the ETF, you say, look how bullish it is, things like that, right? But deep down inside, a lot of that money too potentially will come through XRP, right? Because, we have the settlement, we have the IPO, potentially. We also have the ETF, we have stablecoin. I mean, we have regulation coming. I mean, we have all of these things, right, that could totally boost the crypto market. Now, maybe all of that liquidity goes into stable coins. I don't know. But the thing is, Brad Garlinghouse is bullish, right? I mean, when back in the last bear market, he came out and said, we're probably going to, have to deal with this for a while. And that turned out to be totally true. So when he speaks, I listen, definitely. So, basically saying, right here, the overall market cap of the crypto industry is easily predicted to double by the end of this year. It is easily predicted. That is interesting, as it's impacted by all of these macro factors, right? So one of the other factors Garlinghouse sees pushing the crypto market to new highs, right, is the possibility of positive regulatory momentum in the United States. See, here's the problem. Here's the big problem. I'm gonna shed light. I'm gonna give you something that will like really open your mind. Maybe you already know it. I don't know. We'll find out. But so remember how Bitcoin last cycle. Let me go. Okay, so here's Bitcoin. Here's the last cycle right here. Right. So let me just put it. It's basically all of this was the cycle. So, okay, we'll talk about that. So this is very, very interesting. This is where, Brad Garling, our blockchain backer, likes to say, like, you know, God, unicorn, fairy dust, solar eclipse. I don't believe that. What I believe is the market makers control the market with large amounts of money. And they're not thinking tomorrow like me and you. They're not thinking next week. They're thinking 10, 20, 30 steps ahead. So here's the problem. So that people don't understand, that I'm going to try my best to explain. When we were back over here, not too many people were talking about inflation, right? When we crawled all the way up, inflation was barely coming. It was not even there, right? When did the inflation really start to come? Right through in here. So why is it that the inflation brought the market down, right? Oh, you could say, well, the Fed was raising rates. Well, yeah, they were trying to control inflation, but it's all about this. Buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor was inflation was coming. So this whole move was preemptive. That is the key word in almost all of investing in charts. When it comes to news oriented or fundamental, it's all about preempting, right? Like the military, they do a preemptive strike. So, and that's the market makers. They are, they're buying the market like insanely, because not because inflation is here, but because inflation is coming, right? Like Game of Thrones. I never watched it really. Maybe a few episodes, but I know the first one is winter is coming. Winter is coming. Nobody believed it, right? Nobody believed when it was coming, right? It's the same thing. Now, I was buying. I'm sure a lot of other people were buying, but we weren't buying because of inflation per se. We were buying because we like crypto. We expect it to continually rise over time, right? But the market makers, they knew inflation is going to be detrimental, right? So they bought it before that happened, before, right? So then we rose all the way up, and then all of a sudden, now they're talking about inflation. Now it's really, really hardcore, right? You have Fox, CNN, everybody talking inflation, 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 right? So what happened? People bought. They bought the market. But what did they do? They sold the market. Why? Because they had already bought. It was all preemptive, right? That's why you had this distribution zone right here. Look how big this thing was. I'll put it from here to here. So that was about, dang it, hold on. Ballpark. That was about 2 months of distribution. Okay. So everybody's talking about inflation, Elon Musk, Saturday Night Live, Michael Saylor, all this good news. Oh yeah, Bitcoin's gonna keep going because of inflation. Everybody's expecting 100K. It can't stop at 69. 69. Come on, Bitcoin. Why did 69? You got to go to 100, right? So people expect it to go higher. So they retail bought in and then they distributed, right? Smart money, maybe they didn't sell up here. Maybe they wanted to wait. And what happened was then we had the retracement 1, 2, 3, then they sold. Then it created the bear market. So we had more inflation in here than we did over here. Yet the price rose and this price over here dumped. Like I said, it's all preemptive. So now keep that in mind. Keep all of that what I said in mind. Now think about what's happening now. Think about what's happening now. What the hell is the narrative going to be now? I think the market makers are preempting things because they already know. They don't know. They know things 10, 20, 30 steps ahead, right? So they're well connected with Congress and the central banks and political figures. So they know things, right? These hedge funds, like look at Wolf of Wall Street. Look at these snakes and these serpents, right? In Wall Street, they Goldman Sachs and all of these characters that intertwine themselves embedded with corruption, lies, and deceit. They have a way of extracting information because it's not about money, it's not about power, right? That's people think money and power is the real thing. No, it's not. It's information. Information is the most valuable commodity on planet Earth. Knowledge, information, right? If you had the world's richest man say, "Hey, do you want all your money, or do you want to know how alien technology works and how they live to be 300 years old?" Or I don't know. They would pick the information. So okay, continuing on. We know this, right, was preempted from inflation. Then the news came out about inflation, right? Because that's when Joe Biden took office. I'm not blaming him for the inflation. I think inflation was going to come no matter what. I am of the opinion that Donald Trump wanted Joe Biden to steal it, right? He knew he was going to steal it. He let him take it, right? For reasons, only one can suspect. But I think he wanted him to take the fall. Now we can see the difference between what it was like under Trump and under Biden. It's really the same story, just a different day. But anyway, this whole move, right, was inflation. This whole move, what is it going to be? Well, I think it's going to be regulation. What do you think? So these high level people, right, they know something is coming. You don't get a move like this without serious money, right? So who bought over here, right? Who bought there? What did they know, right? Somebody who's worth $100 million, they bought right here. What did they know? They knew something, right? Because now we're up here. Let's say the price keeps going, right, to 100, 200K, and then we stall out. What do you think happens here? Good news. Like what? Regulation. Maybe, maybe not, right? I think it'll be next year. I think Trump will be the president, and I think we're going to get regulation. So I think this whole move we're seeing here, just like this move was preempting inflation, this move here is also preempting what? Regulation, but also what other things? Maybe the death of the dollar. I don't think the dollar's going to die like people think it's going to die. If the dollar dies, then the dollar is the strongest fiat currency on the planet, right? So, the dollar would be the last to die if fiat currencies were going to die, right? Like, they'll bring out the tanks and the missiles and the guns before they let that happen. But that's the thing; they can't stop it, right? Because you have BRICS, right? The BRICS nation. Countries are moving away from the dollar. They're ditching the dollar. They're dumping U.S. treasuries. They're buying gold. They're positioning themselves. They're preempting. There's that word again. They're preempting their position for what's to come. What is to come? A lot of people think it's going to be, the death of the dollar. I think it's going to be a transition from the dollar to a something, people say CBDC. I think they're going to try their CBDC, and I think it might even work. But what I really believe is that it's not going to go according to their plan. The central banks have a tyrannical plan. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think they're being led into a trap, right? Just like how Joe Biden was led into a trap being president. So there might be a black swan financial crisis, whatever you want to call it. They transition us away from the dollar, put us on the CBDC, say, hey, if you want this, here's your lives, they're at stake, right? You have the ability to reclaim your wealth after losing everything, right? In this financial cyber attack, or it's all wild speculation. But here's what I think. I think the good guys, because there are bad guys and there are good guys, right? Good guys and bad guys and everything. The good guys, they want a system backed by gold, right? They want a system backed by decentralization, by blockchain. The bad guys, they take Bitcoin and they go, oh yeah, we like Bitcoin, but we're not going to use it. We're going to use our own. It's going to be a CBDC, right? It's basically, you print money out of thin air, basically digits on a screen, right? The CBDC isn't going to be scarce, right? Now, it could be a mixture of all three. It could be private cryptos alongside stable coins, alongside CBDC that's gold backed, alongside paper, right? I think the more different, because money, all it is a ledger system. So the more ledgers, the more units of value, the different lanes of units of value, right? We can have multiple paper, CBDC. I think we're going to live in a world with competing currencies, right? People talk about the SDR, a basket of currencies. So it's going to be a whole different world, I think. Anyway, all speculation. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's what the word on around the block is, but a lot of times when that word gets broadcasted too widely and too broadly, a lot of times it's something that completely is different. Because think about C19, right? Nobody predicted that. That came out of left field like nothing, right? Do you think if people were talking about it before it happened, it probably would have happened totally differently? So anyway, I don't know. I'm just, speculating. But anyway, I digress. Just, sharing my thoughts. But back to the price. That's what matters. Price is king. We can see price is steadily moving up. Now, is this like something organic? Or is this the market makers preempting something that's about to happen? Right? I mean, that article, that Brad Garlinghouse article, pretty much confirmed it, right? So, he talks to lawmakers, he talks to regulators, he talks to his central banks, right? They know. So here's my final thoughts about this, and we'll wrap it up here and we'll move on. We have this move, obviously, was inflation, inflation, inflation. Nobody was talking about it though, but the price was pumping up, and they didn't have a reason why. It was just going insane. And then once you get up here, then they talked about inflation, but it was already over with. Same thing here, right? This whole move is preempting something. So we'll find out what that is. So, and then once we get up here into distribution, just like how we got up here into distribution, just, under the concept that this rally keeps happening, this thing can totally, go down into reaccumulation, and it can take time out of the market before getting up there. So just like how we went into distribution, there was good news. There was, talks of Bitcoin going higher because of inflation, because of this, because of that. Same thing that'll probably happen there. So if you start to see that, that would probably be a good indicator to, take some profits. But, you subscribe to my channel, maybe we'll talk about it as we get there, right? So nothing I say obviously is financial advice, but I'm preparing myself, right? So what we see here, the 8-day chart, this is an interesting chart. Look at this. Super, super tight range, right? You can see the wicks on the bottom are much higher, much longer than the wicks on the top, which is good. You have this big move to the upside, and then you're consolidating at the top, right? You're consolidating at the top of the wave. That's very bullish, right? A lot of these people who bought in, they're hodling. They expect way higher prices. I don't know who's selling, right? I don't see any Bitcoin major bulls are selling. You have the price, right, consolidating above the all-time high. Now, I believe this is the all-time high. This is not. That, obviously, it got above the all-time high, but it corrected above it, right? That's the real all-time high, in my opinion, right? But we'll be conservative and we'll put it, right there too. We'll put a line there. So let's go back and look at our range here. You can see, look at that. Even if I get rid of this one, look at the candles. Every candle closed above the all-time high. That's very bullish, right? So on the macro front, I believe we're going to continue higher, and even so, I mean, we have 1, 2, 3. Now here's the thing about the wave 3: is wave 3 finished, or do we have one more wave? If it's like this, 1, 2, 3, and all of this is 4, then we get 5, then we have the big correction before we go even higher. And that's kind of, if we break out relatively quick, maybe like this week, or we don't have that flat structure that I was talking about, then probably wave 3 isn't finished yet. We have one more wave. Then we have that big wave 4 that takes all summer, right? I know some people using their Fibonacci time sequences and things like that predict the cycle ending sometime next fall, right? So, September, October, November of next year. If that's the case, people get excited and they go, oh, we're going to go up for a long time. No. Probably, if that's the case, let me put that there and we can get a visual representation. Because I don't know about you, but I'm a visual learner. So I'm going to put this right about there. So that's where it's kind of projected to go. So we have 1, 2. We come up for 3. Maybe we get another wave to the upside. That would end wave 3. Then we have a big correction that could take just as long as this, right? Actually, let me take that fractal just to get a little visual here, right? And then I'll put it, over here, right? And look at that, lined up almost with my drawing there. So price comes up, then it has a big correction, blah, 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 right? And then it keeps going for the 5th wave. 1, 2, 3, right? And then we have a big 4, wave 4, because usually wave 4s take a long time. And then we get that final 5th wave in here, right? Something like that, right? Excuse my drawing, but it's just giving you a visual of how long it could take. So a lot of it is sideways, right? Probably another sideways type of thing. Now, if that happens, it would be more like this cycle here, where, and see, this cycle, you had these big 30% dumps. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the corrections are just going to take longer in time. So the correction can either be fast and hardcore, like look at this correction here. It went all the way down like 40%, right? So instead of going down 40% in 2 weeks, you might go down like 10% over, a month, right? Or something like that. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it right now. Now, it'll obviously change as we move forward. The more data we get, the better equipped we are to change. But that's kind of how I'm looking at it here, and what that would be, ladies and gentlemen, is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5, and then it's over, right? So I think we're probably in the middle of this fourth wave now. If the wave, if that wave, we don't get that wave, then the third wave is done. I'm hoping we see. That's the weird part about it, right? If we get another wave to the upside, that's great for finishing the third wave. But then you have to endure a 6-month correction just to get that fifth wave. Now, if the third wave is over with, then we're already getting that big correction, and we're already, maybe halfway through it, right? Before continuing higher, right? So, whatever the market is going to do, whatever it's going to do. But I'm just saying, prepare yourself for that situation. Either one. I'm of the opinion that if we do get another high, let me zoom in here. If we do get another high, if this turns into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that, then I'm expecting a big correction to the bull market support band before going higher. And it would just be one big thing like that, right? If not, then what I think could happen here is we come up like this, right? 1, 2, 3. We come all the way up like that, and then we get our flat, and then the bull market support band goes off. Then that means the third wave is over with, right? And now we can enjoy much more upside at a later date, right? At a sooner point in time, I mean. Because if this turns into 5 like this, right? We get up here in 5 waves, then it'll probably take longer to go up. So you can see this one's going up and this one's going up. The difference is the time, right? So you kind of don't want it to break out right now. You kind of want it to still chill out a little bit, because that would give more confidence that the third wave is over with. But on the flip side to that, then if the third wave is over, then you don't have as much higher prices to go. Although it could be an extended fifth wave. If you get a small third wave, you could get an extended fifth wave, right? It's usually wave 3 is going to be the biggest, or wave 5, right? So usually it's wave 3. Crypto, a lot of times it is wave 5, right? So it really depends what happens here. This every decision in here shapes Bitcoin's fate, right? Of what happens right here. So if we get that fifth wave, then the third wave is done. Then we have to endure a big long correction. If the third wave is already finished, then we come back down just maybe a couple more weeks, and then we continue higher, right? But again, if that happens, the third wave, that's it. We only get one more wave. The difference is we get it quicker rather than waiting. So pros and cons to every decision. So we'll see. Now let's talk alternatives. Now let's say none of that happens. Let's talk about the bearish idea, right? Well, if that's the bearish idea, we have obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have an A, right? We have 1, 2, 3. All we have is 3. 1, 2, 3, right? So that would be a B. And what do we get next? We come all the way back down into wave C. Now, usually if B gets this high, probably C will stop somewhere in here. And that, my friends, would have been my main idea to begin with. The only difference is my main idea was this: rise, crash, we get a retracement, then we go into reaccumulation, then we break out. But what happened, if this happens, we have this B wave, it extended, right? It's a flat pattern. So we broke the top, get everybody bullish. You grab that liquidity, right? And everybody's piling in, oh, BlackRock and ETF, they're buying all the Bitcoin, this and this and all that. It's super bullish. We're going to keep going. Nobody's selling, right? And then all it was a distribution event, and then we come back down into reaccumulation. Then we go to the moon. So then it becomes an A, B, C. You have this three-wave shape, right? Now, that would be sort of the main idea if we break down and we just collapse. And we lose the bull market support band, by the way. So now there's always a chance that this can come down, break this low, and that would be a very bad correction. That would be an expanded flat, right? And then we go to the moon. So, that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So let us pray that that's not the case, right? So that's why it's so important we get a fourth wave, because all we have is 1, 2, 3. So we need a fourth and a fifth, right? If we get 4 and we start breaking out, then that's, the bullish idea. But the thing is, if the third wave isn't done, right, then it can, then it's like this, right? But if that's the case, we might not know, right? It could still, see, the dangerous part about it is, if the third wave isn't done, it can still be an ABC, right? And then we have to endure to figure out, is it distribution before back down into reaccumulation, like an ABC? Or is it not in distribution, it's more of a fourth wave correction before that fifth wave? My bet, it would probably be a fourth wave before a big higher. But I'm just letting you know that's sort of what we're dealing with here. And that's the same thing that kind of happened here, right? We had a rise, crash, retrace. Now this retracement was normal. It didn't break the top. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? We go sideways, then we break out. So rise, crash, expanded flat, retrace, we come down, reaccumulation, go. Now, the good thing about it is, if we were to go to the bearish route, chances are we would stay above, we would probably reaccumulate somewhere in here. So I would expect it to reaccumulate in that zone right there between 37 through 53, if we were to go into reaccumulation. So if we come up and then we come back down, reaccumulation, we go sideways, and then we break out. And that can still be kind of like a running flat, A, B, and then a C. It's a little shallow, but it is what it is. So those are my ideas with Bitcoin. Now we're going to talk about XRP. Okay, and I'm probably going to do a THETA video. The next video will be THETA. But I just wanted to talk about XRP. Look at this, guys. We're back at 62 cents. Check it out. Hey, look at that. All right. So we got, now is that good? Is that bad? Let's see. Look at that. Well, first of all, let's go to the weekly chart and talk about that. So look at the weekly chart. Remember last week, the beginning of the week, we had a big dump. And I said, hey, it's not about the beginning of the week. It's about how you end, right? And we ended the week above the bull market support band, which is great. Then the following candle, we came back down, we tested it again, and now bam, instead of retracing this candle 50%, we're almost 100% of retracing it. But look at this. You notice anything? Look at the bull market support band, guys. We're having a bullish cross right here, right? So you can see, let me zoom in. You can see right there. You see how the green line, right? what is happening here? My chart's frozen here. Okay, you see the green line here? It's flipping above the red line. That's what you want. The angle is up, right? So you want the green above the red, right? So if I go back like through this bull cycle here, or this retracement, you can see, look what happened when the green right here crossed the red. And now we're going up. That signals a bull trend, right? Same thing here. Green above the red, bullish consolidation. Look how many weekly candles we're consolidating on the bull market support band. Very, very bullish, right? So you can see, look at the biggest pump in XRP's history here. We see this green, right? We see, here's the cross. Where'd the cross happen at? I think it happened right here in front of this candle. Can't see it because the candle's in the way. Actually, let me take the candle off. Okay, there we go. You can see this was the cross, right? And then, let's see, roughly, a month later, we had a big breakout. Let's see, let me put it on here. Actually, it was more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about a month, 4 or 5 weeks, we had a big breakout upon the cross. Go down even further. Look at here. This was our spring phase back in the day, and we had XRP coming down, right? We retested it as resistance. We continued down, but you look at this. The green crossed below the red. Right? It looked like, oh, it's bad, it's terrible, oh, we're screwed, right? And then we kept going down. It was a liquidity grab, right? But then look what happened. The price quickly reversed. But look at the bull market support band. Let me take this off. Look at that cross, ladies and gentlemen, right there. You can see we crossed, and then literally the next week we flew like the moon, right? Sometimes it's good to take everything off the screen and just look at this, right? Take everything off the screen and just look at the bull market support band. Isn't it beautiful? And it becomes more clear, right? Now you can say, well, what does it matter? I mean, we're crossing below, crossing above, crossing below, crossing above. Well, why that matters is because it's sort of intertwining, right? Just like how, look at this. You can say, well, where else did that happen? Well, look at this, right? We crossed below, crossed above, crossed below, crossed above, crossed below, crossed above. And what happened after all of these crisscross, crisscross? Boom, we got that. What's happening now? Exactly the same thing. So, we crossed, let's see, we crossed, I guess you could say 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait a minute. I'll count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We crossed 6 times. So how many times did we cross over here? I'm sure it's less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Well, I guess you can count this one too. So about 5, yeah, about 6. Because that one, started this down move here. So about 5 or 6, and that's exactly how many crosses we have now. So if I count the one down here, right? I don't really like how this went. I mean, it was too quick, but I guess you can count it. But the point is, look, we are crossing bullish, right? We still have, we technically got the cross, right? Which is a good indicator. So let me put everything back on. Man, we're already at an hour long, so can't really spend too much time here. But essentially, I'll probably end up talking about it in the next video. So I'm going to end the video right now. If you want to check out my XRP analysis, you got to check out the next video. I'm going to do a theta video and an XRP video, right? So I will catch you guys on the next one. I might, because sometimes if you put 2 videos out, you know, the one that you want people to see gets, you know, whatever video I put out first usually gets the most traction, right? So maybe I'll put this video out second. I'll have to play it by ear. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Anyways, if you haven't subscribed, you can do so. I got all these videos here going back. I mean, it's really not relevant too much anymore because the price data changes so quickly. But I did a rapid fire 2 days ago. All of that still applies. So VeChain, Chainlink, Bitcoin, T-Drop, Stacks, ARB, LCX, IMX, AGIX, Myra. I got Nervos, Dogecoin, SHIB, XRP, EGLD, Bond, Kronos, EWT, Digibyte. So if any of those coins you're curious in, go ahead and take a look at the recent video I put out. Another interesting one I did was yesterday, basically talking about the XRP ETF, the settlements, investment strategy, you know, comparing, if you can see it kind of closely, the difference between Doge and XRP. So anyway, and also if you want to support the channel, I do have the super thanks on the YouTube channel now. So you know, I'd prefer crypto if you wanted to support the channel, but if you want to go through super thanks, that is always extremely appreciative. Or you know, go through the YouTube tip jar if you want to support the channel. I don't make, you know, anything on YouTube, so you know, supporting the channel is always a good thing. That's why I probably might do a members type or maybe a Patreon or something, because it really does soak up a lot of my time, and you know, I gotta figure out how I can balance, you know, my trading life, my working life, my personal life, and then also doing YouTube. It's definitely a handful. So I'll you know, that's why I don't really do much editing, or I don't have a cool intro like some YouTube channels. I just, you know, open the chart up and let's get going. But anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and then also leave a comment. And if you have any coins you want me to take a look at on the next rapid fire session, you can always do so. And tell me what you think about what Brad Garlinghouse said, the CEO of Ripple, saying, you know, we're going to be at a $5 trillion market cap this year. That's pretty interesting, given the fact that we're only at 2.61 trillion. So I mean, that's insane. So if we have 3.61, right? 4. Let's see how much that is. So, you know, if I keep going up, wow, still not there. Wait a minute, what's going on? Okay, there it is, right about there. Wow. So he think about that for a minute. Brad Garlinghouse believes the entire crypto market is going to go up 92%. That's insane. Wow. So what is that? I can't even read what that is. That's got to be 2,393,683,424,972. Whoa, that's insane. So yeah, he predicts another $2.3 trillion will be added. That's a 90% increase, and I believe that it's going to be XRP is going to be a major beneficiary of that move. Because why would he even say that? What the CEO comes out and says 5 trillion. Where's that even coming from, right? I think he knows. I think I really believe this has got to be XRP's year. If it's not, okay, whatever. but I think it's coming. I think XRP, because if you got to watch the next video, if you maybe I put this one out, maybe not, but I'm going to talk about something, right? And especially when people are making fun of it. Brad Garlinghouse comes out, right? He makes fun of XRP, or he talks about the $5 trillion increase, and everybody on Twitter is laughing and having a good time and saying ha ha ha, yeah, we're going to be at a $5 trillion market cap. Meanwhile, XRP is still at 59 cents. Ha ha, ha ha, right? We're going to go to $5 trillion and XRP is still going to be only at 60 cents, right? It's going to die, right? They're going to just, XRP is a dead coin. So I'm reading comment after comment after comment, just the mockery, the frustration in people's eyes. And these people have XRP handles next to their Twitter name, right? So they love they're in XRP and they're making fun of it. That's how you know we're close, guys. Because if everybody, it's when people put out a poll, where's Bitcoin going to next? 100,000 or 40,000? And everybody says 40,000. And guess what? Everybody's wrong. It goes to 100. Every time people put out a poll, more often than not, the majority is wrong. So if the majority are laughing at XRP saying it's only going to be at 59 cent, comment after comment after comment, what do you think that means? And then add to that, what do you think it means, right? What do you think it means in regards to what Brad Garlinghouse is saying? $5 trillion. So we got plenty of ammunition. We got IPO. We got regulation. We got stablecoin. We got ETF. We got settlement, right, from the lawsuit. We got Bitcoin ETF. We got what other things are going on? I mean, we got the Coinbase versus the SEC. That'll probably drag on longer, right? But the real big boy, I think, like I said, is the market makers and the big dollars are preempting something big, right? Because, how do we explain the move, right? Before, we explained it through inflation. But inflation hadn't really kicked in yet until after the Bitcoin dump or after the big rise, right? So what is, it's like a cup of coffee. The longer you brew it, the stronger it's going to be. And what is been brewing this whole time behind the scenes doing nothing, right? XRP. And what happens? People get complacent, right? They think, oh, it's 59 cents. It'll be 59 cents tomorrow. It'll be 59 cents the next day. I got plenty of time. I'm going to sell now, buy back cheaper. Complacency, right? And what happens is when people get used to it too much, and then the price explodes, just like how people are getting used to Bitcoin being at 70,000. If Bitcoin goes all the way down to 50K, it's going to be insane. But just not so long ago, Bitcoin was at 30K, right? So it's all about perception. You have to get used to the new price, right? It's all psychologically programming people, right? 70,000 is the new 50,000. And then 100,000 is going to be the new 50,000, right? So, if we go to 100 and then we go all the way back down to 70, people are going to flip out. But we're at 70 now, and people are still excited. So it's all perception. Anyways, I've ranted on long enough. I will catch you guys on the next video. Cheers.